myself, my name is Dr. Sharnael, and I am a naturopathic doctor, speaker, conference speaker, author, truther, researcher, author of books, and I don't know. I never know what to say I am, but I am super excited with it. I have a podcast. I was on TV for years, and now everything's moved on podcast and online. But I am really looking forward to this conversation about superstition versus reality, because there is a big difference, and we have a broad group of amazing, enlightened female, male people with us today that are just going to light up this entire conversation. We welcome all of you guys, and also welcome all the viewers. Yes, everyone's already excited, saying this is going to be so good. And I got a echo somewhere. But yeah, so I'm going to let Derek go around and ask for everyone's bio. Maybe you guys are familiar with everybody, maybe you're not, but you are about to if you haven't heard of these guys before. And we are missing one person who will be joining us in a minute, Karen Britt, who I'm really excited about. So I love you, and I thank you for so much for taking this time to be with us today. So I'm going to pop off for just a second and take care of a couple things. And Craig, you got this. See you in a minute.
No problem. Thanks, Sharnael. You go do what you got to do. We'll carry on the conversation. Everyone all right? Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Great.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, it's great to have you on. And obviously, you guys, I love talking to you. Adam, this is the first time I've met you, so welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, man.
No problem. Sharnael and I do regular shows together, talking about all things weird and wonderful, much like everyone else on the panel.
All things true.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start with Adam, since I've not met you before. Why don't you start with a little bio on yourself, and then just go around and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so I'll do my best to condense all this stuff. So my first introduction to any of this stuff that we'll talk about today along my path was a book called The Celestine Prophecy. I read it when I was 19 years old. And if anyone's read The Celestine Prophecy, it talks a lot about frequency, energy, synchronicities. And I just took that back then, like, if this is even close to possible or true, these things that it's saying in the book, even though it was a fictional book. Mm. So I began my path from there. You know, I'm an athlete. I grew up playing sports, played college baseball. So I've been, the way that I began helping people was I got certified to be a personal trainer. So I've been in the health and wellness field for officially since 2008. I mean, I coached sports, little leagues, up to high school. I got a ton of certifications, man, but I'm like jack of all trades. I can do it all. I'm a coach, a consultant, a mentor. One of my favorite things on the planet is to read eyes. It's a form of iridology, if anyone's heard of that. And then plus I know body language, which our spirit is constantly communicating to us. There's no coincidences. There's no scratches or itches or pains or anything that does not mean anything. And so that's one of my most fascinating and things I love to do and share with people, teach them, and just translate. Because if we have a physical pain in our body or something like that, it's because of an emotional or spiritual component that's holding us back or a problem that we may have. So I love all things truth. I believe in a lot of the things that you all believe in. I mean, I've watched you, Craig, several times on the show with Sharnael, so I know we're...
My autograph.
What's that?
My autograph.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I do a lot of things, and I'm into all things that make a difference in humanity, that brings more love to the planet, to show compassion, empathy, and I also like seeing everyone win and succeed. And if we're not being our best, that's what I'm here to do, is to help people be their best, because there's no reason why we have to settle.
Love that. That's brilliant. Well, yeah, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. It's great to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Mr. TruthSeekah, underneath me. We know you, but introduce yourself. I'm loving the hair that's coming back now.
Coming back, yeah.
Coming back.
Loving the fact that it's coming back. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Such a pleasure to be here with you like-minded individuals and beautiful souls. I do spiritual, esoteric hip hop. I have a podcast called the TruthSeekah podcast, and you know, just share my experiences and my beliefs, and trying to articulate this weird space that we're all living in, and we've all had strange experiences, or like you said at the beginning, weird, and you know, that word weird means supernatural. So we've had these supernatural experiences, or we are weirdos ourselves. So we are supernatural and uncanny, as the word means. So trying to find beautiful ways to articulate that. I've given my life to study the spirit world and how it operates, and really just piggybacking off of what Adam said. Everything that happens in the physical reality has some type of spiritual influence, or it means something. So tracing that stuff back has just been a amazing journey, and it's been fun. And man, that's what I do. A little bit of, like everyone else, we wear many hats. So I'm
Yeah,
That's
TrueSeekah.
awesome.
love it. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Thanks for being here. Cornina, how's it going? You okay?
Hey, yeah, I'm doing great. It's so awesome to be here with all of you guys, and good to you, Craig, Derek, and Adam. So nice to meet you. Pleasure to be here with all of you guys.
Excellent, wonderful, nice to. So chuffed you're here.
Is it Craig breaking up, or is it just me?
Yeah, he kind of paused there for a second.
Oh, did I? Oh,
There you go.
sorry,
Okay.
You're good.
Am
You're
I back?
good.
You're
You're
back.
back. Yep.
Tech is brilliant. I'm just saying, when we were sort of talking about the topic of today's discussion, I think it was you that came up with this idea, wasn't it, Derek? This idea of superstition. Is that right? Do you want to just sort of explain where you're coming from a bit with that?
Yeah, it's, you know, interesting. We were talking about it in our group chat, just a title of some things that Sharnael was throwing out there, and that's one thing I like to kind of make a distinction between. You know, many of us have been in or deal with religious circles, or have been religious at one time. It's kind of a rite of passage for many of us to kind of go through that and see if you make it out, kind of thing. But we end up finding out that, you know, a lot of people that are kind of stuck in that, there's a difference between being spiritual and being superstitious. And just a while ago, just thinking about it, I'm thinking that, like, if you default to everything is demonic, or everything defaults to a demon or negative, you're probably influenced by superstition to some degree. So that was something interesting to think about. And we would kind of use it, I guess, I wouldn't say a derogatory term, but it's like, I'm not that, right? I'm not superstitious. But, you know, I don't know if we're going to go here, because I know we're approaching it from that perspective, but I think a lot of religion and a lot of spirituality may have been rooted in early superstition that turned into some type of religious practice, or how to keep the devil away, or how to bring an angel into your life, or something like that. So without just giving a blanket statement to look down on superstition, I think there's a connection there with the ancient world. So but there's a distinction, what we would say now. Just because you believe in spirituality, or you get scared anytime you walk under a ladder, or if a black cat passes in front of your vehicle, you might be superstitious. Again, if you default to everything is demonic, you know, a UFO, demons, magic, demons, like anything that you don't, if anything that you don't understand, you demonize it, you may be religious or superstitious. And so that's the connection we're trying to make today.
Excellent. Well, when I was, if I just get this in before we go around, I looked up sort of the, you know, what is the definition of superstitious? Because I was just thinking about it. I was thinking, what does that actually mean? So I DuckDuckGo'd it when it loads up. The definition is an irrational belief that an object, action, or circumstance not logically related to a course of events influences its outcome, or a belief, practice, or right irrationally maintained by ignorance of the laws of nature, or by faith in magic or chance, or a fearful or abject state of mind resulting from such ignorance or irrationality. So the point is, like you just said, Derek, is that, you know, I was thinking of it, like, what would be an example? I was thinking, what would be a good example of like what we're talking about? And the first one that came to my mind, and I'm allowed to say this because I have been there, is I remember, there's gay people in California. Well, God's going to send an earthquake because there's gay people. And it's like, that's insane. Is that love? no, then it's not God, is it? So that was the first thing I could think of. But anybody else got any other ideas?
Well, for me, when you first said that, like, I've never really given much thought to these two topics intertwined with one another. But as you were saying what you were saying, if you think about it, from my mind, what came to me is like superstition and religion are almost the same thing, because when we're kids, we're brought up to follow these rules, do a certain thing, study certain doctrine, and we believe in this invisible God, or Christ for many of us. So as we begin to evolve and question and understand, start observing, and our full self starts to come on deck, like, we start to test stuff. At least I did. Like, prove all things. So either with religion or superstition, like you were just saying, like, I've walked under ladders. I make sure I cross black cats. Like, I did all the superstitious things just to see if it was true or accurate, or was I going to be cursed? And that's where belief comes into a lot of the stuff. But for me, I had to prove superstitions and religious stuff and what God was. I didn't just take, once I got to a certain age, I didn't just take the adult's word that this is the way it is. Like, no, like, I require proof. So along the way, I've found proof for myself to both of these topics. So I find it fascinating that they are, like you said, probably from the ancient world, but they have a lot of similarities and maybe come from the same place. I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah, and for me, my thought of the superstitious, that belief, that mindset is rooted in fear. That's why there's such a connection and almost like a parallel between superstition and religion, because religion is rooted in fear. Don't do this, because if you do this, this is going to happen. If you do this, then this is going to happen. And the same thing with superstition. So I think when people are awakening out of their spiritual amnesia, is they're realizing that it's not about superstition or religion. It really comes down to a relationship. Realizing who you are, having a relationship with yourself, like knowing who you are, loving yourself, realizing what you carry, and having a relationship with, with the Heavenly Father, having a relationship. It's so important that we look at things, and if it produces fear, then that's superstition. That's religion. So to me, it's like fear is so rooted in superstition, as sadly it is in religion.
I couldn't agree more with that. That's perfect, because, like you say, Cornina, how much like Adam and TruthSeekah have said, when we don't understand something, we demonize it. It's straight to the devils, because it's always fear-based, always rooted in that negativity. But actually, I think that the world, the universe, creation is way more benevolent than we give it credit for. But let me just go here, Karen. It's great to see you. You made it.
Hey, yeah. I don't know what happened. I had tech issues. I normally don't have those issues, but that's okay. Fashionably late, huh?
It's fine. It's good. Making a grand entrance. So we've all introduced ourselves. If you just introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, and we'll take it from there. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Karen, can you turn your volume down just a little bit? For some reason, it's a little bit extra.
Okay. Well, I'm always extra. I don't know why.
I'm glad we all made it. Yeah.
We made it. We made it.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, Craig.
Okay.
Go ahead, Karen.
All right. So I'm Karen. I'm with the Elastic Army Band and also have a live talk show. I'm affiliated with Kingdom Talks. I do admin for them. And recently I've been stepping into the host realm. So that's where I'm at. And also, like my background, I started out as going to church as a kid, doing the normal thing, then didn't go anymore. There's a lot of things that happen. So I wouldn't call myself like really churched. I don't like that. So here I am, stepped back in a few years ago, and now I'm here and tied in with you guys. Most everybody I know. Adam, I don't. And so, hey, Adam. And so this, I just want to really say this too, on behalf of Sharnael. Sharnael, you have a great show.
Oh.
And
I have great people. I have a great Craig. It's Craig's show too, and it's all of us together working together. So thank you.
And hey, you're willing to step out on the fringe and bring out some things, and maybe not everybody likes it, but hey, you're doing what you're called to do. So
Yeah, exactly.
I want to say you're awesome. So
I think
you,
everybody in their own, every box in here is doing that and their own version. And that's why we're all here right now together. It's because I picked people on purpose who do this, who have that spirit of willing to think for themselves, check into things. I know Derek, everybody have been on this journey of actual research, not just hearing what someone told you because their dad said something or their dog next door or whatever. Like, I've never been that person who just, I was always the why kid. It's like,
Yeah.
you need to do this. Why? I need to know why. If I know why, then I'll do it. I'll make an informed decision, but I need information, number one. And if you won't give it to me, I'll find it. And then I'll make a conclusion on my own. And I may follow what you said, or I may not at all. So it's one of those things I think all of us have that common denominator here. And that's why I put everybody here together. And I love the whole superstition thing, because I really think that most of the stuff that's been taught in the programming is superstition. It has been passed down. And thanks, TruthSeekah, for coming up with that great title. Reality is perspective, and everyone has their own. And I'm totally cool, with wherever everybody is, anywhere, all y'all, anywhere watching. If you want to keep doing what you're doing, do what you're doing in the way that you're doing it. I'm just merely asking if you've even asked those questions of why. Like, those guys who are watching probably are watching because they're on the cutting edge and they're remembering and they're coming back. But they're and especially in this last 2 years, I'm seeing a lot more people waking up and asking questions when they're told to do really weird things that don't make sense. Common sense hasn't been, like, even from the high levels of the world. I was going to say the country, but of the world, common sense hasn't really added up. And I think people are kind of like, some people are still sheeping it out, and other people are just like, what? Even medical people that I'm talking to have either left or they're, asking questions. And so again, I'm just, I will say this too. Bob Jones is a dear mentor friend of mine, and I had a dream. I believe it was like 2008, or I might have been. No, I'm sorry. It was in like 2000. And in the dream, I was driving. I was in this car, a fast car. It was driving really fast, going down all these weird, crazy roads, turns. And when I looked, no one was driving. It was an empty seat, but something was driving, and I was going along, and then the cops showed up and they pulled the car over. I don't know how anyone pulled the car over because I was in the side, and they came over. Nobody was there. They came to my side and was like, you're driving too fast or whatever, and wanted to give me a ticket. And I said, well, you can't give me a ticket. I wasn't even driving. Like, I don't know what's going on. And it wasn't a Tesla car. This is 2000. And they kept trying to give me a ticket, and finally they couldn't give me a ticket because they had no evidence that I was driving. So right after that, Bob Jones literally calls me, and some of you may not know Bob, but Bob is like prophet of, like, I don't know, level.
Another level. Yeah, another level.
Never seen this level of and experiences that he's had over the years, like since a kid, photographic memory now after he couldn't read or write, all this stuff. But he said, you're a terrorist to the law. That's what he told me. He said, did you see it? And I said, see what? And he was like, the dream. And I was like, what? And he said, you're a terrorist to the law. I said, what does that even mean? And he said, everywhere you go, you just stir up religious spirits. And I was like, what? And he said, well, the law was trying to, like, pull me over, but it was really God driving the car. And that was my pass, or that was my immunity, I guess.
Mm.
And to just keep on doing what I was doing. Now, I know by definition in conscious language, Adam, my friend, my dear brother, that that wasn't probably a great label to stick on me as an authoritative, but I get what he's saying, and I love everyone, and that's gonna, you know, I've turned that recently into, you know, I'm just allowing people, I'm being objective, I'm listening to what people are saying, but I'm also seeding as I can when I can, and I don't want to control anyone or force anyone to believe what I believe, because that is just as bad as what the religion would be trying to do in the first place. So I
That's
just
true.
like letting people be where they're at, but I'm not going to dim my light or my understanding or my perspective of where I am now just because somebody else doesn't like it. And that everything that I believe this very second could actually change in 2 minutes from now, because
Right.
I have CDs and books that I have thrown in the garbage of my own teachings that I'm just like, there's probably stuff 10 years ago that I literally got on a live and said, hey, all that I'm throwing in the garbage. So sorry. That's where it was. This isn't where I am now. Love you so much. So speak on that a little bit about how your perspective has changed over time. I would love to hear you guys' feedback on that.
Well, I'll go. I love what you said about loving people right where they are. And if you think about it, superstition, religion, I'm the same way. Look, I don't care what you do, what you practice. If it's working and you have success, you're happy, you have fire, passion, laughing, having fun, like awesome, keep doing that. But if it is not working because you're practicing the same routine you were taught as a kid, getting the same results, and then questioning God or questioning why me or like all this crap. Like, no, man.
Yeah.
All you can do is make a simple choice. And for example, in baseball, when I was a little kid up to a certain age, I had a routine, pull up my sleeves, wrap my batting gloves every single, and until it worked, like I changed my routine. You know how many times I changed my routine because superstition wasn't working anymore? So even as a young kid, it's just a matter of what works, and you keep doing what works till it doesn't, and then you adjust. But I really love that, what you said about it, Sharnael. Me too. I love people where they're at.
Yeah.
And if it's working for you, good on you. Keep going.
Yeah. Sharnael, I loved what you were talking about, questioning everything. Because I think the problem we're seeing, especially, because what I do is I'm part of my blueprint, if you will, is try to help people awaken and wake up out of this sleep that we've been put in through the programming of the mind and through the religion systems. And what I've noticed, there is such a fear in asking questions. There is a literal fear going on in people that are afraid to ask questions, because somehow if they ask questions, they're opening themselves up to demonic forces, or they're somehow angering God, and so it's so important. That's why I love you guys. Ask questions. God can handle you asking questions. I guarantee you, a good father, a good mother, a good parent will want you to ask questions, because by asking questions is how you mature. I have 4 children from 9 years old to 29 years old. So, the way they've matured is by asking questions. My 9-year-old will ask a question that if my 29-year-old asks that question, I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. So in other words, there's a process of maturity that's taking on that must happen, and you have to allow it. And that starts by asking questions. No, God's not going to get angry. No, you're not going to be cursed. No, the demons cannot come enter you. No, nothing bad's going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to go from one level of awakening or glory to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. And Sharnael, you were asking, where are you in this, because I loved, again, what you said, that what you knew maybe 10 years ago or a year ago or last week, you've evolved from that. And again, that's a process of maturity. My 9-year-old, he's finishing 3rd grade. What he knows today is going to change. Is it going to change when he's 29 or when he's 22, like my 22-year-old? Of course he will. So you guys trust your awakening process and your maturity process. I'm telling you, this is why you were placed on this earth, to awaken, to mature and to help others awaken so that we can change. We have to change the crap that's going on around. We are the answer. We are the answers to what we've been praying for. So the way that happens is ask questions and hold the truth loosely and let the other revelation come and get up to the next level. Don't be afraid.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I would say a lot of people don't want to ask the questions because they're used to the cut down or the beat down. And so they're afraid to ask, and they're looking for a tribe that they can come to and ask the questions. I mean, I've had some conversations lately. Sharnael, you don't know how on time this show is because I'm getting a lot of phone calls and a lot of people saying some things. And, you know, when I said I love the critics, well, I guess I'm going to be the one that handles those guys. So, I mean, people are forming opinions about people on online shows, and because of somebody they had on or something that they said. And it's a beat down out there. And I'm telling you, I'm telling you. And, you know, my answer to the calls that I'm getting about it is, why don't you go to that source? If you got an issue with your brother, then you need to take it to them and find out what they're about, because their show, they have a disclaimer saying they may not even believe what that person, or they're not in alignment, but they're giving them a chance to speak. But the objection is, well, you know, it's whatever they're talking about, or even they're allowing these people, now get this, they're allowing them to come on and speak and say whatever they're saying, and it's against God. Okay, well then still go to the person that's having the show and have a talk with them about it, get to know them. That's a big issue.
To be clear, people are coming to you about your guests, or
yes, yes, my guests.
And my guest. And my guest.
And everybody's guest.
Yeah.
I know Craig and I have that, and we're always like, well, but he said this. What did he mean by that? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not him. Like, you want me to use my psychic powers to figure out what someone but, or why did you let them? And I'm like, I don't even, Craig and I say this all the time. It's like, we don't even know if we believe what anyone's saying, but we're just talking about it. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah. Right.
Can we just have a conversation? Derek, explain your situation.
I mean, we're getting into spiritual cancel culture.
Oh.
You know, Corrina's had some people on lately that challenge the status quo of what we've been taught. I've had it. We all have it, you know, and so someone else catches wind of that. And then, you know, there's this weird thing when you become married to a doctrine.
Yes.
And that's what religion teaches us, that we have to be married to this, rapture, Trinity, that, and that. And if you deviate from any of those, then you're in trouble. Going back to what Karen said, like, hey, this is what we believe. And so I think us as truth seekers, like, we're married to the truth. Like, we want the truth. And for many of us, that truth was found in Christ. It's found in love. It's found in forgiveness and freedom. And those are our foundations. And so, you know, anytime new information comes, unless we're dealing with cognitive dissonance, which superstition and religion, most people are, but we are too. No matter how deep you are, no matter how free or no matter how open you are, you ain't got it all figured out. You've got people that have given their life to studying this stuff. I don't want to hear about what your pastor says about crystals. I don't. I want to hear about the person who's given 30 years to doing crystal excavation. I want to see the guy who's been in Hawaii, who digs up these huge crystals, and memories and thoughts come to him as soon as he touches them, and he's given his life to it. Let's explore his brain. And so that's what our podcast and shows bring to the table. Let's get an expert on in this stuff versus going off of what somebody said or a documentary said. We could just go through all of our comments and know that you've got derogatory comments, that you guys are deceived, you guys are going to hell, repent, God is going to judge you because you interviewed that person. And there's that. But then the next comment says, oh my God, this was so liberating that you guys touched on this. It cleared up so much. Thank you. I felt the Holy Spirit while listening to you guys. So we got to know our truth. We have to be connected and know our scroll, know our mission, and stick to it. But yeah, we all got to deal with it. And it's it's troubling, especially when it comes from friendly fire.
Mhm.
When it becomes, you know, in these circles, like, I can't believe I'm on here with TrueSeekah. This guy is this. I can no longer support, or whoever. And we all got to watch ourselves, because that can easily be us really quick. But you know, cancel culture, you know, and I just think I'm thankful that there's tolerance, you know what I'm saying, that we don't, and that only comes with not having it all figured out. Listen, if you got it all figured out, you're good. It's a business plan. You got to corner the
Give
market.
my number an email if you got it all figured out, because I had a few questions I need to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing of cornering the market.
Yeah.
And the way that you corner the market is demonize everybody who comes up. Like, I
Whoa.
remember even like back in the day when I was younger, like buying drugs and stuff, like people selling weed and crack and all that. They would fight who owns this corner. And hey, don't get him. Mine's bigger. But you know, my sack, my drugs I'll give you more for less. And so there's this cornering of the market going on. It's been going on in the churches, and it goes on in the spiritual community as well. We have to corner the market, and the way we do that is by demonizing and pointing fingers at others. And I'm not with that. I'm not with that at all.
I agree.
Craig, I'd love to hear what you got.
Well,
So good, Derek, by the way. Thank you.
yeah, I put it on these comments. Yeah, loving it. I mean, first and foremost, I know when somebody says to me, like, you go into hell, my answer or my question is, which one? And they just go, what? Because they think hell's one place. Anyway, that's a topic for another day, perhaps. But yeah, I mean, we've come up against religious spirits, but Sharnael and I we talk a lot, and even in the sort of new age or the spiritual circles, the same problems are there, just in a different way. That's what I'm finding. There is politics involved. There is beliefs, and people will throw others under the bus at the drop of a hat just because they said something that differs from what someone else says. And this is really, if we're going to grow up as a community, as a species, this has got to stop. You know, I am perfectly okay if someone comes to me and says, I don't believe what a word you say or what you're about, but they can still love me regardless, and I can still love them. And that's to me is the taking the high road, is that we can agree. You know, like, for example, talking to a Muslim, for example, we may have different views on who Jesus is, but the fact is that this Muslim guy might think, like, I want to do what's best for the planet, best for humanity, and love is the answer. And I'm like, dude, we're the same. You know, we're on board with each other, regardless of what our beliefs are about who Jesus is and was, you know? And I think that is the key message. And as I refer to it a lot, Shauna, when Bob Jones met Jesus, when he died, Jesus didn't say, you know, did you convert people to my religion? He said, you learn to love, you know? And that's what it's about. Are we learning to love each other? Regardless of beliefs, regardless of culture, regardless of everything else. So that's where I'm at, and I love the journey. I've said this before. I was on Derek's show probably about a year ago now, and I said on his show that he was always my canary. You know, when I was like experiencing this awakening, if Derek had gone there, it was okay, and he was really out there. So I'm grateful to all of you who have done this, who are pressing the boundaries. I'm watching all your shows, Adam. I'm going to check you out more. If you've got anything out there, I'd love to check you out. Karina, I watch your show, and Karen, I watch your shows. You know, you're really pushing it out there, and I know there's controversy with some of the topics you're bringing up, but good. So what? So what? You know, God is not afraid of us questioning Him or questioning the narratives or questioning our beliefs about Him. There is nowhere that says we shouldn't do that. In fact, the opposite. If we're not questioning, then there's an issue. And so, you know, when we get in this religious sort of narrative, and anything outside of that is demonic, again, it's rooted in fear, which is not love. God is love. God is our guide. God is the one who leads us into all truth. And I love the journey, and I love talking to other people on this journey and getting your perspectives of it. And I love doing this show with Sharnael. So thank you very much.
Well, I think that TrueSeekah, I mean, when you said the cancel culture, that was like, oh, I don't know why I didn't think of that, but dude, that is target on. And yeah, and what I see, what Cornina was talking about, the fear, it's like they feel threatened somehow by our wanting to look into things or experience other people or ask questions regarding different topics or perspectives. I mean, we had a guy on last week who happened to be a monk and studying Buddhism.
He was brilliant.
And freaking amazing. And he talks about Jesus the whole time and what have you. And I had a couple people comment and saying like, but he's, but what about Holy Spirit and what about all this stuff? And it's just like, and I even said something about like, I would love to hear what books you're reading and or what you got started, and just because Buddhism is a philosophy, it's
not a religion.
Study that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with studying other religions. I think it's actually really good, and I've studied all of them. Well, not maybe all of them, but a lot of them, and I always have since I grew up. I went to I started out in a Baptist church, and I went to Baptist Bible school and seminary. So I'm very schooled in Baptist, and then I graduated to non-denominational, and now I don't know what I am. I mean, I believe that God is source code and not necessarily have any body parts to define pronouns, which whatever, maybe that's where some of this is in the air about. Is like, I'm not anything, I don't know.
Trying to say God is them, they, by any chance?
God, if you look up God, literally, I hate, don't be pissed off at the messenger, but if you look up God in the Bible, almost everywhere that God is mentioned, unless it's Jesus, it says he, she, it, they, them. He, she, it, they, them, her, or whatever. It says the whole list of pronouns. And I dare you to look that up. And how I found out is because Ariana Grande, of all people, whatever, she had a song that came out that God is a woman. And I was actually offended. I was like, what? I cannot believe that she's made a song about it and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know why, but my intuition was like, look it up. And it took a song from a celebrity or whatever she is. She could be a part of the system, probably. But I Googled God and I tried to find, I looked up many, 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 many scriptures, and it was right. He, she, they, them, it. And now this is way before the whole pronoun thing became a popular situation. But yeah, I'd love to just go around and whatever you guys want to say to that. Not just about the he, she, they. I mean, just in general, anything that's coming to your awakening to speak.
Well, for me, when Derek, I love your analogy or your metaphor. So with anything, churches, drug corners, like the reason why that goes on is because people have yet to figure out that Mother Earth, nature, universal supply is endless, or whatever the word is, forever and ever and ever. And people are in such a scarcity mindset. That's why they take jabs at other people, or why they belittle people or try to get them to come to my church or my drug corner or this or that, when there's plenty for everybody. And however many people there really are on the planet, each one of us has a certain frequency, and we're going to be attracted to our tribes. So trying to be right and better than another tribe, I mean, that goes back to me growing up in sports. Like, it's ridiculous, some of the stuff that I went through, or the sports is just it's just to glorify the Spartans or the big gladiators. That's all it is. That's like, you got men out there that are spending thousands of dollars to buy season tickets and get shit-faced every Saturday or every game when their kids are going without shoes. It's like, come on. But that's like across the board. That's what a lot of it is. It's like we're constantly competing against someone else when there's more than enough. Like, just stay in your lane, stay focused, have love, and you'll have everything that you've ever desired.
Yeah, Adam, I love what you're saying. Literally what you just said, stay in your lane. And this is what I want to kind of echo. If you are not, for those of you watching, if you are not on a journey of growing, then that's okay. It's your choice. But then don't take rocks and demonize and stone people that are asking questions that are on a path to grow, to awakening. This is my thing, and yes, I've had some very controversial I've opened up some very controversial subjects on our show, but it needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, I tell you something that was shocking, but not shocking. The ugliest comments we received were from Christians. Ugliest. I'm talking about like low punches that have nothing even to do with the subject, just the ugliest comments. And this is the thing that I want to say. Everybody that chooses to be on a process of growing and awakening is going to walk at their own pace. If you're not there, don't attack somebody else for being on that. And you know what? If you cannot handle that, that's absolutely brilliant. Just put it on the shelf. Just put that on the shelf and be like, you know what? I don't know about this, but I'm not ready to go there. So, but if you feel the need to attack and be ugly about it, there's something that's not right. Because if it does not come out of love, I don't care how many titles you have behind your name. Pastor, doctor, reverend, whatever, author, whatever. If what you are releasing out of your mouth is not rooted in love, then something is not right inside of you, and you are the one that needs to grow. We all need to grow, you guys. We all need to grow. Listen, humanity needs to grow. We are the ones that are going to stop the evil that's happening. I know in churches, we've heard that Jesus is going to come in the sky by and by one day, and he's going to take us, and, you know, he's going to fight. The angels are going to fight these demonic forces. No. It's up to us. This has been given to us to take dominion out of love. And if we're not going to do something about it, guess what? Something else is going to take over. So what I'm saying is we are all on a journey, and be kind and be nice. And if you can't handle what Sharnael brings, what TruthSeekah brings, what Craig brings, what Karen brings, what I bring, what Adam brings, keep moving, keep going by.
Yeah,
Go find, a makeup channel or whatever. So, all right.
My question is, why do they feel threatened? If you feel threatened, I encourage people to ask themselves, where is that coming from? Why are you not secure enough in your own belief system that you are having to shut down other people and what they think? Why are you threatened by someone else's experience? Like, because I can just scroll on.
Because, Sharnael, these people need to repent because they're teaching a false gospel. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's so sad, because as long as we do that, we as humanity we're not growing. When we're so busy attacking each other because I don't agree with what you say, and somehow you're threatening me, again, because I'm not staying in my own lane. We are literally doing the work of what the dark forces want us to do. We are going at each other. We are divided, we fall. You guys listen, look at something that you can agree with and unite on that. What you cannot agree with, stay away from. Simple. We have to unite. As humanity, we have to unite. Go beyond your religious walls, because it's not about that. God did not send Yeshua. God is not about religion. He's about relationship and you knowing who you are. You have to know who you are. And then when we all unite, we're going to get the job done.
Amen.
We're just at this crossroads, at this precipice where there's so many narratives laying on top of each other. And you'll hear so many things like, the Christians will say this to try to like downplay any of us or anybody they disagree with. You guys believe another Jesus. You guys have received another Jesus. Like that's something that Paul and they talked about in the scriptures, or another Jesus kind of thing. And it was just the idea that it was a doctrine that was outside of what they had already agreed upon, that Christ taught. But really, when you break a term like that down, you have another Jesus. When they would accuse you, like, we all have another Jesus. Like, everyone has an idea of what Christ is. And I say Jesus, put that on God or the politics or anything that has anything to do with anything. Like, for us to sit next to each other, even in the same church, this is how weird it gets. In the same church with people sitting on pews next to each other who they think these are my brothers and sisters. But when it comes down to splitting hairs of What do you think that God does? Is God a woman? You better not answer, because if they hear you, you're going to be in trouble. Does God love Freemasons? Oh, God, does God love gay? What about gay people? You guys know how many messages I've interviewed some gay people on my show, and I get messages from like the really open Christian prophetic people about, I'm not listening to you anymore because you interviewed a gay guy. It's like, listen,
That's politics.
yeah, this is insane. We have another, because your God hates gay people, but it's not your God. You hate gay people, and it's just how convenient that your God does too.
Yeah,
how convenient, and that's what we do. We have this belief systems and structures that once we start splitting hairs, we'll find out that, wow, even in the same church, you believe that Jesus can heal people. You don't. You believe Jesus comes and speaks to you in your dreams every night. I think that he doesn't do that anymore. He did that thousands of years ago or whatever. And so, that's the thing of fighting for the narrative. And that's just been something that, we all have been doing. But honor the narrative, man. I say caveated on what Adam said. Like, what's the fruit of your narrative, man? Like, how are you doing? Are you okay, bro? Are you good? Like, what's happening? A good friend of mine, really deep individual, good friend of mine. I just seen a meme on this page and it stuck out to me. But the meme was from the movie The Patriot, where he's like running from the army's hiding behind a tree with a gun, and there's a big army behind him looking for him. He's like, how I see myself in the next 5 months. And it's funny, and I know they're like, oh yeah, they're gonna come for us. Kind of listen, no, that's not my. I'm not sharing nothing like that. Where I'm gonna be in the next 5 months. Listen, y'all, we're gonna be enjoying life. We're gonna be able to see new places in this beautiful planet that we've never seen before. We're gonna see healing and love and diversity and people coming together. The idea of try this. Ask God, what's the best that can happen?
Yeah.
Because it's getting worse. Get ready. And guess what happens? It gets drastically worse. Change your mind.
Come on.
Change your perception. Listen, guys, it's getting better. We're going to thrive, man. I'm speaking life to the dead places. I'm a prophet. I'm joining with the wind. I'm joining with create. Listen, like, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We have what these people are looking for. So the narratives are fighting. Even that narrative of saying that you're putting your head in the sand and you're just being, oblivious to the truth or whatever. No, that's not my truth, man. Even if that come and I'll be wrong, I'd rather err on the side of love than err on the side of damnation, finger pointing, self-righteousness, and superstition.
Before anyone says anything else, can everybody who's watching and or on the show please share this so everybody can catch it? You have no idea who needs to hear this right now. There's probably tons of people who really need to hear this. So I just encourage everybody to share while we keep going. But keep going. Anybody else?
Yeah, I love what you're saying, Dara, because what really we're talking about is because you are a co-creator, you have the ability to create your reality.
Yeah.
So whatever you look to, that's the reality you are creating, and that will become the supply by which you are being fed. So like Derek, you were saying, it's like, if your reality is doom and gloom, guess what? That is what you're creating. And we need to come out of that. We need to come out of that programming. I'm telling you, it's been a programming that we have been programmed for generations after generation. That's why they say that their God hates the gay and hates this and hates that, because that is the programming that they chose to engage in, and that's the reality they've created. So you guys, you have the power to create the reality that you want to see. If you're focused on the negative, guess what? That's what's going to happen. If you're focused on the rapture and on the tribulation, you know what? You're going to enter a season of tribulation. But that does not mean that is the heart of God, the creator. And there are enough people that are focusing on what he wants, which is, heaven on earth, which is this beautiful place, the power that he gave us to bring that about. There's more that are uniting to create that. So you have to be careful what you look at, what you speak out, and what you observe, because you are creating that reality.
Wonderful. This is something I've been thinking a lot about recently, because in the sort of Christian mystic community, there's this almost denial that there are dark power structures. It's like there's this denial that there are negative agendas. It's like, just float around, sort of like bliss and love and all that sort of stuff, which I get. That's great and that's wonderful. But I'd love to get your guys' perspective whilst we're sort of on it. Yeah, consciousness creates reality. Absolutely. How do you suggest in dealing with all this crap that's coming out? I mean, let me give you my perspective first and see what you think. I think, yes, we are because we're having these conversations and humanity is waking up, ascending, whatever you want to call it. It's causing chaos for the structures that have held us down. And that's what's happening. It's not happening to us, it's happening to them. And eventually they're going to crumble. And like Derek says, we're gonna have a heaven on earth society, technologies that will just revolutionize life like we've never known, a spiritual awareness that will just blow our mind. It'll look like magic. But we've got to deal with these power structures, or have these power structures dealt with. What do you think about sort of acknowledging those things that are happening whilst staying positive? There's no balance.
Okay, so
wait, great question, and I'm going to add this because the 3-letter agencies, they don't just focus on sports and entertainment and politics. They have infiltrated this arena as well, and they have their people placed in these places, and
in clergy as well, in churches,
and in churches, all other, hashtag Hillsong, it just came down for all of their trafficking. And then also, if you even look at, what's his name, Frisbee back in the 70s with drugs, that was an infiltration of just like, let's do drugs while we're in church because it's a free Jesus thing. And he passed away from AIDS, by the way. So, I mean, we don't know who's who in the zoo in all of these organizations and who planted what for what reasons. It's in the music industry. There's a whole thing about that. What's the Laurel Cannon? Is it Laurel Cannon? That whole thing, Beach Boys, all of that was CIA with 3-letter agencies. So to deter music, because everyone who's musical here, which I think everybody is, you can look at stats and then you can say decrees. If you say a decree, there are going to be certain things that go in your brain that your beta waves and different beta waves and delta and all that that create. Like she was saying, we have our own technology, but when you put it to music, it does a complete different thing to your brain, and it stays. It's like you'll find yourself humming crap, 5 hours after you heard something because it's stuck, right? So. But so speaking to that, go ahead, Cornina, what you were saying.
Oh, Craig, you set me on fire when you were talking about this, because I am very bold in walking in this arena, and especially when it comes to the children and the atrocities that have been happening to the children. And you're right, Craig, you're right. A lot of the mystic movement, they don't want to deal with this. So this is what I say, and it's very simple. It's really, you guys, it's not that hard. We're not talking about warfare here. We're not talking about binding demons. That's not what I'm talking about. It's really simple. It's looking at it, you see the darkness, you see the evil, stepping in your position and releasing the opposite. So let's just take the children. Take the power that's inside of you that is rooted in love. See yourself over these children that are encapsulated in atrocities that you cannot even imagine, and release that love. That is one of the most important things that we could do that is effective, because love is the most powerful energy force that there ever was, is, and will always be. Love creates the desire of creator. So, you look at it long enough not to get involved in it, not to, you look at it long enough to see what it is, and then release the opposite. And we can take this in any situation we're facing. Release the opposite of what is operating in this dark forces in these arenas.
Super.
That's great.
Anyone else? Any thoughts?
Yeah, there's definitely. I know TruthSeekah myself. I mean, we do music. So do you, Craig. So you know how powerful the The music can be, I mean, like if you just put something on, you automatically you start seeing people going like this. You know? And like Sharnael's talking about, that beat gets in your head. It's purposely done. It's called a hook.
Hypnotic, yeah.
In the music realm. So you always try to create a hook in the secular realm, because once it could be a lyric piece or a chorus, and that hook gets you, and then you and it sticks there, and it's meant to do that. And I've talked a lot about this frequency and sound, Fibonacci, the 144, fully activated DNA, and that 144 keeps going up. It's coming up in the Vogel crystal, and I'm seeing all of this stuff come up. So I haven't really spoken about it that much because it's still more revelation coming up about it. But yeah, that music is a big thing. And if we go back to biblical, David had music going on 24/7. He had, 1,300, 2,000 musicians that played all the time. Why? What's the reason for it? So I'm sure Derek has something that he can share about this too.
I will, but I'll let Adam go, just in order kind of thing. Go
I
ahead.
love what you're talking about, Craig, because I mean, me especially, since this 2020 crap happened and just how aware and just stuff that I've been up to that point, like the dark entities or dark energy or dark agendas, whatever you want to call them, here's the way I approach it, because I was so infuriated that like I was looking for trouble, if you know what I mean. Like really, like I was going to go out that way and take a lot of other truckers with me. So, but it took me out of who I was, and I was giving all this energy and attention to this stuff that was just making me miserable and wanting to fight. And so now here's what I tell myself: like yes, I'm going to be aware. Yes, I'm going to keep speaking to these people. I'm not going to go chasing and wasting my energy reading articles or following these news stations. But if it lands in my lap, at my doorstep, or is in my awareness, guess what? I'm handling it. You bet your sweet yes, I'm handling it. So the point is like these things exist, but there's also this idea that, whatever we put our attention on grows. Well, it's the same thing like if you left a plant in the corner and never watered it or put it in the sunshine. What happens when you don't give your attention to something? It dies out. So the more that we focus on all these topics like we've been talking and sharing today, and like the whole panel has been doing for a very long time, like focus on stuff that can grow, that you can feed, you actually can do something about it right now. And if it's part of your mission or part of your purpose, that the troubling stuff, like you're going to be a big part to resurrect and have a different solution. But otherwise, don't waste your time and energy being an angry guy like me.
I hear you, brother.
Can I interrupt 1 minute before TruthSeekah? Matt Smith put up, yep, right there. Retune at A432. We did that on our instruments, and yeah, most music is on the 440 hertz. And a lot of teaching out here, 440 was Hitler's way of using frequency. Now, I want to say this, and maybe not everybody will agree. That hasn't been proven. And to me, the Father created the sound. So yes, things can be used there's a righteous real and there is a corrupted side. So when I look at those hertz, I look at all of them as the Father created the hertz, and nothing is original, corruption. 440 is not corrupt. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to get that right there. I like that. 432, we've done it with our instruments. And a lot of other musicians in our Kingdom Talks music realm. We have different musicians who are using all different kinds of hertz. Different things are happening, breath work and all that. So, all right, Derek, you take it away.
Oh, man, so good. Yeah. I mean, the music thing, we totally can go down that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much we have to do, whole shows, because we're all musicians, and we know that there's power and there's things that are effective that we incorporate. We find out that they're doing it because it works, and then we do it, but for the righteous real. With that being said, the light and the darkness, this spiritual warfare that's going on, And it's in everything. It's in, polarity exists. And I think what a lot of people are waking up to is how dark it is, and the people that we've looked up to are actually participating in really just demonic lower level things that is unfathomable, and that's making a lot of people mad, and it should. So there's this place of like awakening. So that's awakening for sure. Like when you find that out, and you want to do something, most of us, when that happens, most of us go to the political realm.
Yeah.
We want to pass legislation. We want to do these kind of things. And then we find out, well, that's infiltrated as well. So, yeah, come vote, guys. We want you to vote. Sign the petition, rally, do a protest outside, because we'll see that the people are upset and we'll change the decree. No. It isn't until you learn that, like, you may start going to rallies. Like that. This is like a process of like so many people that I know have done. I've done. Part of my awakening was getting into Alex Jones, and the conversation that we're having now and the world's been having the last 2 years. I had in 2008 and 9, and I was all in it. I'm talking about all in it. FEMA camps, FEMA coffins. They're gonna kill all the black people. You just come on. There's no end to that. There's no end to how deep the rabbit hole goes with the lower nature stuff. But hey, if that's true, then there's no end to how high the rabbit hole goes into the heavenly realms. That we got people that are trying to kill us, but you know what? We got people that are trying to bless us and work with us too.
Yes.
They're trying to get your damn attention from the other side of the veil, and they're sending you signs and numbers and synchronicities, and they're speaking to you in your dreams. They're trying to get you to wake up and pay attention, because there are things that you can do. But if you're focused on the doom and gloom and you're not hearing from the heavenly perspective, you don't have the answers. You can't do nothing. You're just a resounding cymbal, a resounding gong, because you have not love. Get so full of love, and then you'll be powerful and effective wherever you go. How I maintain and try to move through this stuff is I know that stuff exists. So there's nothing that you can tell me. Like, hey, it happened with the Bush administration for me. That's when I woke up to this stuff. And then they were trying to tell me about Obama. I was like, listen, I already know. Like, I'm not concerned. The Bible says that they continually create ways to do wickedness. Because if we get it all figured out, then you heard what they're doing now? Man, they doing this. They doing gene splices and mixing it with animals and blah, blah. Oh, okay. I don't care about that. I know these people are dark. These people are wicked. How do I maintain, and how can I have impact? And the truth is, the Bible teaches, I believe, the narrow path. It is the path that is not too much on the left. It's not too much on the right, but it's just like you're aligned. You're in perfect alignment. It's not out of alignment. You're not with one political party and demonized, because we know that the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
The highway of holiness is this narrow path that only a few find, and to stay on it. It's like, listen, I'm not biased. I'm not part of your party. I'm not a part of your narrative and all of these things, but I hold the truth loosely. And it's to know that both exist, and we are going back and forth through it all. So to bring it all into the now moment, to know that, not to let it pull you out of alignment.
Yeah.
With any report, who has believed their report, they're going to continue coming up with stuff. And you can tell by the way it makes you feel. If it's peace, if you're in alignment, or if you've ever been in alignment, there's people who were in alignment years ago and they're out, but they know that, man, I used to have what you guys have, man. I used to be on fire like you. Hey, get back in alignment. Because if you've ever been there, you know what it's like to be out of it. We've all been there before we incarnated here. That's another story. But whatever it takes to get back into alignment and maintain that peace, because everything's trying to get your attention. We're fighting that. Everything's fighting for your attention and for the narratives, because with attention, we got money, we got ad space, we got so much stuff. So I think it's powerful just to know who you are, to stay in perfect alignment. And it's hard. I'll see articles that scare me and they shock me, and immediately fear just overcome me like a spirit. But it's like, what can I do? What can I do right now? Can I do something? Like, if there's something I can do, like I can pray for sure, I can fast, I can do warfare, but is it immediately in my power to change it? Because if it is, I want to do something. You know what I'm saying? So I think we all have to ask ourselves that when it comes to the war and these things, and like your mind can go crazy and be like, what if they drop a bomb on us? I live in the port city. I live in Mobile. Like that's where they listen. We're going to be the first ones to get hit. And you so much fear you become a channel for fear because now you're telling people now these ideas that don't exist.
Yeah.
They're just in your imagination. Now they start existing because you're a portal. You're telling people, you're tweeting it, you're writing articles, but it's the same way for the heavenly realm too. It's same way for the good report. And obviously, we got I mean, the lower hanging fruit is just like easy, you know what I'm saying, easily accessible. It takes something to ascend. It takes study and learning and testing and trial and all of that for you to step up to the next level to see what's available and what's privy, so that you are a portal. Can be a portal. You're not studying to be a channeler. You are a channel for whatever information, for whatever narrative. So you need to channel the things that God loves: peace, love, righteousness. So, and we're learning that, and we're trying to walk together, in the midst of having different, because everybody has different callings. You know what I'm saying? So to say that, like, I'm not supposed to interview this person. No. You're not supposed to interview that person.
Right.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah.
I respect your lane. We need each other. But to try to think that everybody has to be like us, that's, man, I listen, I salute the folks we disagree with. I even salute the Christian street preachers preaching hellfire and screaming. And listen, you represent polarity. You're reaching some people that need to be reached that certain type of way. Now, I may not,
Can't fault the passion.
no, listen, but you may be channeled in the wrong direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, everybody is right where they need to be. You got to learn, and man, that's how I maintain.
There is a lot of peace in that, and what you're saying. I mean, the way I see it is over the past sort of couple of years, loads of people have sort of had an awakening. They can see what's going on in the world, and it's like, a map, for example, like a navigation map, is useless if you don't know where you are on it. Yeah. Once you find out where you are on it, then you can navigate to where you need to be. And I think that's kind of what's happening. That people are like, whoa, crap, we're not in a good place here, but here's where we are, and we need to go here, here, and here to get where we need to be. I think that's kind of what's happening at the moment. So I see a lot of positives with everything that's going on. It's just really, really uncomfortable. Like Adam was saying, I wanted to full-blown Braveheart Westminster when when it was all going on. I'd have grabbed a horse with a sword and gone,
Seriously.
Honestly, seriously, but it's just that that's not the way of the future. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Well, we're wrapping up here, but I have a few things on what Craig said. Anything that can be measured can be managed. So again, if you're in a GPS, just like the map situation, how do you get somewhere if you don't even know where you are? And it's okay where you are. And it's okay to take inventory and like look and see. But the polarity, like Derek was talking about, I actually wrote that down to talk about it, because as long as there is polarity, left and right, gender issues, whatever religion, whatever politics, all the things that are this and that, there's that split.
Superstitions.
Yeah. When we have the split, then that's what keeps us in 3D. That's what keeps us here, because there is that split. When we come together and find union, like Cornina was talking about, even if it's just something little, like, oh my God, you like chocolate chip cookies too? Me too. I was on a panel for Carrie Cassidy's show yesterday, and I was on with Jen Easton, who I adore. I love them both. And Jen is like, loves Jesus, thinks Jesus is God is a man, went on quoting scriptures and what have you. And then Carrie jumped on and said, oh, well, the Bible is just the Illuminati's playbook and blah, blah, blah. And then I said, or maybe it was inspired. I know it's been changed and translated differently, and things are left out and put in, and maybe they have taken what was given that was inspired and actually used it as a game plan to set up anyway, all of that being said, I jumped in and I was like, hey, the cool thing is we can all talk, even though we absolutely have completely different ideas of what things are. It's called unconditional love. Yes. It's called loving one another no matter what anyone believes, and being okay with that, all in the middle of that. But, going back to what Adam says, or was saying about, again, what you focus on, you make room for. And if you are feeling that, what like TruthSeekah was saying, pay attention to how you feel. If you get an article and you feel low because of what was sent to you, clear that and go, okay, you know what? Maybe that's not opening that guy's stuff anymore or whatever, because they're going to use our creative abilities to go ahead and create that narrative. And Saint Germain, who Adam and I studied tremendously, he had a saying that said, if I'm even aware of anything less than God, I cannot know God.
Yeah.
If I'm even aware of anything outside of God or less than God, I cannot know God. Does that mean hide under a rock and exposed to all the things that are that are around us? Not necessarily, because we're in the world but not of it, right? But I just got this article that Leslie Davis had sent, and it's titled "A Spiritual Conspiracy." A spiritual conspiracy. And it says, on the surface of the world right now, there is a war and violence and things that seem very dark, but calmly and quietly at the same time, something else is happening underground. An inner revolution. I got chills. An inner revolution is taking place, and certain individuals are being called into the higher light. It is a silent revolution. I'm chilling out.
That's true. Yeah, that's awesome.
From the inside out, from the ground up, there is a global operation, a spiritual conspiracy. There are sleeper cells in every nation on this planet.
Yep.
You won't see us on TV. You won't read about us in the newspaper, except this one. You won't hear about us on the radio. We don't seek glory. We don't wear a certain uniform. We come in all sizes, shapes, and colors. Most of us work anonymously. We are quietly working behind the scenes in every country and every culture of the world. Cities, big and small, mountains and valleys, farms and villages, tribes and remote islands. You could pass one of us on the street and not even notice. We go undercover. We remain behind the scenes. It is of no certain to who takes any final credit on this. Occasionally, we spot each other on the street and we give a quiet nod and continue on our way. During the day, many of us pretend to have normal jobs, but behind this storefront falsity, at night, the real stuff takes place. Some of us are called the conscious army, and we slowly are creating a new world, a new earth, with the power of our minds and our hearts. We follow with passion and with joy. Our orders are from a central spiritual intelligence. We are dropping softly secret love bombs when no one is looking.
Yeah.
And I will post this in here. But yes, any final words as we finish here for this section? We're going to do this again, right? I mean, sure.
Love this panel. It's great.
I would love any comments. Again, everyone share and like and pass this on. But everyone go around final words on how we can find you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can find me wherever I show up because I'm not really out there for the world to see that. But find your tribe that's like this panel. I so loved, and thanks for the invitation, Sharnael. I so loved being here with you all today. I mean, it's just, I love having these types of conversations and then taking action. I get inspired by this kind of stuff and surrounding my people with like-minded individuals, but that are different, that we can talk about challenging topics. Because if you get around everyone that's just agreeable, like, yeah, I mean, good luck if you like that kind of stuff. But no, I like a little headbutting once in a while. So just find your tribe and find people that light you up, that inspire you with all the stuff we talked about, to ask questions, to be you, to be in your full power, and then share the love. Share what you've learned. Share what you've remembered. That's what it's all about. Share the good news. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Sharnael.
Share the good news.
Right, Adam. Brilliant.
I love that. Hello.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on. Also, it was such a pleasure to be with all of you guys, and such a pleasure, Adam, to meet you. And for those of you watching, I just want to encourage you: allow yourself to awaken and to grow. And remember, part of that is asking questions. Remember, you are more powerful than what you've been told, more powerful than what your experiences are, more powerful than what you think. There is the greatest power that Creator has, He put inside of you. And the way we conquer this dark forces that we've been talking about, remember, is love. I'm not talking about love as a mushy gushy feeling. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about engaging that weapon. It's a weapon. It's a creative weapon that creates what is missing. That's what love is. So engage that. I love that, Sharnael, love bombs. And just allow this process and trust the process. You're going to be stretched. You're going to be made uncomfortable, because that's what happens when you grow. That's what happens when you carry new life in you. You are supposed to awaken into a new creature, new creation, which means uncomfortable, painful feelings sometimes. But trust that process and use love, love, love to build the reality around you.
It's good.
Love it. Thank you. Derek?
Love builds bridges.
Mm-hmm.
Religion, confusion, having to be right, your narrative, those things destroys bridges. It breaks bridges that you can't unsay something. You can't undo something. You can't, once you're every move is a calculated step. Think about what you do. Become a conscious individual. Be a soul that's turning into a living spirit that you get to actually think before you share. You get to think before you speak. You get to think before you delete this or say that, man. And that's what, listen, you're talking about ascension. That's how you ascend. You keep making the right decision over and over and over. You put the right foods in your body over and over. You align yourself with the right friends over and over, right frequencies over and over. Not just one time, not just a conference, but you are transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you're changed. And now your narrative, because it's love, it's winning. Listen, that's the eternal reward. All of the, lower level demonic stuff, yeah, it exists. Everything exists. Everything exists. And you could become a detective and a sleuth, and you'll find new stuff out. And but we're not, when we step behind the veil to the other side, however many years from now, we're not going to remember any of that. That stuff gets obliterated. It doesn't exist anymore. Only the beauty, the beautiful conversations, the you helping people awaken, loving people who didn't deserve it, like all that stuff, like not believing what people have told you about somebody, about the Bible, about Christ, about me, about any of you guys, and say, you know what, that's not my opinion of them. They've always been, a good person to me.
That's such a biggie about somebody.
We're gonna be reminiscing on this stuff in eternity, and shoot, we're reminiscing on it now. And we're unlocking a portal to heaven, that realm which is within us that we're already glorying in. And that's why we have a peace that surpasses all understanding. And that's what we're supposed to maintain and share, give nuggets. Listen, you can get in on this. That's what we're here to do. Change the world one person at a time. And it's working. Keep up the good fight. Continue moving forward. Love is the answer. Love is the key. God bless you guys. I'm TruthSeekah. TruthSeekah.com. You can find out all my music and podcasts and stuff. Thank you, Sharnael, and you guys for having me.
Well, I'll be the last one. That's good. So anyway, I want to also kind of say, hey, do your own research. Each one, and I'm a person that promotes. I'm not a preacher, teacher type anyway, but I mean, I can. But I want to say, each one of these guys brings a piece. And if you are in search, Cornina has her thing. TrueSeekah has her stuff. I mean, his stuff that he's doing. Each one of these, stop laughing, Craig. So, I mean, really, each one of these guys, like Cornina's got tons of books. Sharnael's got her books. And each one of them brings so much different facets. And if you're searching and seeking, check them out. Also for me, you can find me at theelasticarmyband.com. Everybody asks me, what does that name mean in your band? And it means exactly what Cornina's saying, that we have to be stretched out and be willing to be stretched out. The tent pegs are always being moved. and you have to be flexible and elastic to move along with it. So you can find our music, shows that are coming up, things that we're doing. You can find me on the Elastic Army Band Live Talk. We have our own talk show. We have Kingdom Talks Music, which Craig is a part of, and Derek now is a part of. And we're getting ready to do something in June for a show with our group. And also, we're going to do something with the UK because we can't keep Craig up at 1 o'clock in the morning all the time.
It has been known, but yeah.
And then again, so my group on Facebook is more like I let Sharnael put her stuff there. All of these guys are allowed to put their stuff there because I want to be a hub where you can do a one-stop shop. You know, if they've got something to share, they're welcome to put it on there. So you guys out here that are watching today, you can come by and pick up something that they've done, whether it's PDF files or whatever they want to share, you can find it there. So that's sort of my call. What I'm trying to do is open up the doors to be a one-stop shop. So thank you, Sharnael. I appreciate you having me on today. I've talked to you a lot. I love what you're doing. And hey, your show on your story, that was awesome. That was an awesome show.
That was a tough one, but
I know.
I thank Craig for being my support in that one. But
Yeah.
Craig, any final words, and then I'll share mine and we'll wrap up.
Yeah, just for me, I mean, obviously, I'm so honored to do these sort of things with every one of you and people like you. Past couple of years, as difficult as it's been, I think we're all finding each other. All the people that are truly aligning with for the benefit of humanity, we really are finding each other. I mean, we may have lost friends, but for everyone we've lost, we've gained. That's my experience anyway, and I'm deeply grateful for every one of you for holding the line, doing what you're doing, changing with the times and with the needs of the times, and we just got to keep going and doing what we're doing. Because I think things are going to break. Things are going to accelerate in a positive way. When obviously I don't know, but I'm very, very optimistic about the future and the present. You know, I don't want to push everything to the future. You know, I believe in the here and now, and we can embody that in the here and now and manifest it. And that's kind of what we've been talking about. And yeah, there are bad things going on, and sometimes we do need to be aware of that and navigate the times we're in. But never do it without having that hopeful expectation that good things are here. You know, the creation is organized in a way for our benefit and our good. We are created by a loving creator who is all about us and loves us deeply. We are all loved. And that's really the be all and end all. And let's get here and bring heaven on earth. That's it.
Yes, I loved what I didn't know that whole thing about the elastic army, but
Yeah.
one time I woke up because I heard in or out or whatever, it woke me up, and you must stretch before you run. And I agree with that, but I also am on the whole miracles thing. We don't have to necessarily stretch. Sometimes miracles just are, because we are miracles. So how do you go where you already are? Yes. And if anyone's watching and you get like negative things that are coming, if you see or envision or have a dream or anything, I really encourage you to grab this book, Keys to Third Heaven, because I wrote this back in a long time ago, and there's lots of pictures, and it's an easy book to read. It talks about when we get second heaven information versus third heaven revelation. And for people who get like a lot of negative things, whether it's about people or the future or the present or a situation, my encouragement to you is go higher, because you're in a realm that maybe is what, quote, the dark forces are, where they are, and what their plans are. And we have the plan already within, because it's in our DNA, and we can go a little bit higher and get the actual keys to remember and to be that light in this situation wherever we are. And Bob Stevens is someone that Adam and I have studied and worked with for years. And he brought something to my attention years ago because I came from that program of the whole spiritual warfare, like, fighting and, you got to demand and command and loosen and, and John Paul Jackson would say, like, not to touch, heavenly spiritual forces because we can, or not call them down because we could land on our heads, right? And when I started doing spiritual warfare, I literally had the cops at my house 3 times in 2 weeks of just starting. I was bringing it on. I was literally focusing on that, and therefore the energy was causing more issues in a certain situation and then there was problems. And so when we focus on other things, when we focus on the light, like Adam kept talking about, that's where miracles exist. That's where love is. That's where God really is. And my book, The Science of Miracles, talks about this a lot, and just being able to create that on a regular, no matter what is going on externally, to have that ability, because we already have that ability to bring miracles into our realm, no matter what's happening, and to help other people to do the same thing and to live that way, not just to visit, not a habitation, not a visitation, but a habitation. And that's where I'm kind of at, is I'm just like, look, going back to what Bob said. Bob said, if you're in a room and it's dark, you don't get out a machine gun and start shooting at the darkness. You just flip the light on. I mean, crap, how fast is that? Like, and we are the light.
That's right.
So when we focus on just turning the light on everywhere we go, and I've been testing people and they're doing soul audits, and I can see how big your width is in your biofield, how big your radius is. And some people are 7 feet, some people are 14 feet. That means everywhere they go, they have that ability in their 14-foot realm to turn the light on to anyone who bounces in their field, that they can turn on things for them. And they can also have stuff siphoned, but the key is to remember that we are that light, and that DNA is projecting that out. And as we walk around or wherever we go, we're not only casting that radiation out of light and love, if we're thinking about that and we feel that, but also even when we leave, you can test the resonance of like a chair you sat on, or a table you touched, and there's phantom DNA of your presence still there, of your light or your negativity, and it's captured in items. And so just like Paul gave it the handkerchief, people got healed, right? And we have this ability, greater things than these. This is like why we're here right now. And so grab these things, you can get these things, and all these other guys got great things. But if you're really looking to see how you can use your DNA and your creative abilities to change the world where you are, I invite you to do that, because all of us, we have our own realms of people and things and stuff. But you out there, you guys have your own realms and circles and people that we aren't going to talk to. You're going to be the ones. So wherever you are, you're stationed there for a reason. You're on mission. You are here for now. This is the important time where we signed up for this. And so I just really am thankful for everyone who came today. Whether you're a speaker or a participant, all your comments are beautiful. And let's just go out and turn the light on everywhere we go. Let's remember, even in our car, if your field is 14 feet, that means your whole car is filled up, and anyone who comes near traffic or whatever, you're just like blasting them. Love you, pick up the phone, talk to the customer service, love you, whatever, right? We are the ones. And I have my days, trust me. Greg's been on the phone with me, and all of you have listened to private conversations when I'm not like in the best. That's why we need each other. And isolation is a thing for sure, but it's also an illusion. So we have each other. We thank God for every one of you, because all of you are, I consider personally, my friends. I'm going to cry. Wow. I don't use that word. I don't use that word, but in all of you, I can say that with ease and with all security. and all love and all actual meaning. You are my friends, and many of you watching are my friends. And I have much gratitude and love and adoration for your call, for what you're doing, for who you are, but also what you're doing. Not just what you do, but who you really are, your core, your essence, the God in you. And I'm just, especially today with everything, stuff happened this morning, and keep my daddy in prayer.
Let's pray now. Let's pray now. Father, I thank you for this. I thank you for this meeting of souls and of the minds, and just beautiful energy that we're creating and changing the world, Father. I ask you right now just to send forth your healing touch to Sharnael's father. Give him that peace in his body, Lord, from the top of his head to the soles of his feet. Let him know that he's loved. Let him feel the prayers that Sharnael has continued to pray for him over the years. Let him feel them right now, I pray, God. Heal his body. Yes. Touch him, Lord. Just let him know that there's a peace, Lord, that he can tap into it whenever, right now. Peace be upon him. Peace be upon him. And anyone else out there right now that are struggling in their bodies, in their mind, in their spirit, if they're at war with their families and they're at war with narratives, Father, I speak peace upon them right now. Right now. Turn it around, top of the head, soles of the feet. Peace, peace, peace. Receive, receive, receive. You are loved. You are more than a conqueror, because that infinite love is going to you and through you. Everything's coming into alignment right now. Peace, peace, peace. Receive it, guys. Amen and amen.
Amen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Amen.
Yeah. Now that is a good way to end.
Yeah.
We love you, Sharnael.
Love you too, Sharnael. Love you all. I'm glad I met you.
I'll definitely be in touch for another.
We'll do another. Definitely.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't finished talking.
Well, we just started.
I know.
Love you guys.
Love you
Please
guys.
share.
Love you now.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Shalom,
All right.
shalom.
Love you.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.